The conflict in Ukraine is entrenched. Pro-Russian separatists still control much of the east in the self-proclaimed Donetsk People's Republic. The guns have now largely fallen silent, but efforts to find a lasting peace have been elusive.
This is not surprising, as Russia still supplies troops, heavy weapons and ammunition to Donbass over the border.
Russia denies sending weapons and troops, but says what it calls Russian volunteers are helping the rebels. The conflict in the east began 2 years ago, after Ukraine's pro-Western revolution. Demonstrators called for the then pro-Russian president, Viktor Yanukovych, to step down. But after they were met with force, the protests turned violent. More than 100 people died in weeks of street battles, but eventually Mr. Yanukovych fled to Russia.
I was forced to leave Ukraine under a direct threat to mine and my family's lives.
Russia responded by seizing and annexing the Crimean Peninsula and backed an insurgency in Ukraine's east, a conflict still in deadlock. A main crossing route in eastern Ukraine in contested territory. The village of Zaitsevo is surrounded by landmines, one of the main danger zones in this now largely frozen conflict. And for residents, it's a daily struggle to live a normal life. On the Ukrainian-controlled side of the checkpoint, soldiers loyal to Kiev defend their positions. This area has been ravaged by intense fighting, despite a ceasefire supposedly being in place with pro-Russian separatists for over a year.
Zaitsevo is a crucial checkpoint. If it was captured, rebels could surround this part of the front line.
Ukraine faces many other challenges. The government says it's brought in significant reforms, but the IMF has said it's not enough and that Ukraine's multi-billion-dollar bailout is at risk. There are also major concerns about corruption, including at the highest levels of government. The Ukrainian Prime Minister has faced calls to resign, and frustrated over the pace of reforms, the Economy Minister, known as a key reformer, recently stepped down. 2 years after Ukraine's pro-Western revolution, the ideals for which so many gave up their lives are still unfulfilled, and it's not clear whether Ukraine will ever reunite with its East. Duncan Crawford, The Newsmakers.